Are on.
Roll call. Sherry.
Yep.
Barbara's not here. KK's excused. Bernie.
Here.
Richard.
Here.
Linda's late. Annette is not going to be here. Chris.
Here.
Sean will not be here. Jason.
Here.
Tandra.
Here.
And Larry.
KK had sent me a message that she was not going to be able to make it. Annette and Sean had also said the same.
Yeah, I knew about Sean and Annette. I knew about those two. Looking over May's minutes.
Just need to, just for me looking at it, to see there's an extra C in Coakley. We'll fix that.
Yeah.
Start.
Need a motion to.
I move we accept.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. We have no guests, so Jason.
Alrighty. Things are lively at 1900 block of Mills, if you haven't been around recently. The year-to-date comparisons for the golf course, I'll fill in for Annette. And I did want to just mention, I wasn't here for the last meeting, and I know, I think someone was said about Sean being on the rec board for years, and thanking him, I wanted to thank Sean for his service at doing that for our rec board. And then also, now Annette isn't here for tonight's meeting and is excused, but just, having Annette on staff for the past, I believe it's 6 years, 5 months and so many days, was great for what we were building here. And then she was very flexible at when we had to make some changes when the pandemic hit, and moved over the golf course and made some things happen there that really needed attention as far as getting the finances on and getting the golf course. From what I've heard, even this year, the golf course is great, looks great. And then what she did with Touch a Truck and Safety Town and building those programs up too is great. So I just wanted to thank her publicly with this board here, since I wasn't here for the last meeting.
Will there be replacements?
We are in the process of rehiring
Yes.
the recreation program supervisor position, yeah. So I just wanted to say that. And also, looks like we're catching up to last year. We had a rough April with weather, the wettest April, I think, on record for this area. And we're only under, looks like $200 with a good May that we've had so far. So I'm looking forward to days like today and having more record seasons over there at the golf course. We had a golf camp that started this week. There's 3 weeks of golf camp, Monday, Tuesday, was it Monday through Thursday for the next 3 weeks? I'm trying to remember the dates. But the golf camp is going on. It's great to see that across the street, and we'll get into later of what else is going on at the 1900 block of Mill Street. But is there any questions on the golf course numbers? Okay. We'll go into Sandusky events.
Sandra?
So we have, next week will be the Juneteenth week. I believe there's an event this weekend. Did you?
Farwell Park on the 16th.
Okay, on the 16th, there's a Farwell, is that the park?
Yeah, it's at the park. Well, it's on the park and then it goes on the street.
Yeah, so there's a Juneteenth celebration, and that's a yearly celebration. I think Deshira Reed is the creator of that, and then that's, you said Sunday? Oh, Sunday?
Yeah, 16th.
Sunday the 16th, I'll say it again, Deshira Reed, Juneteenth event, and that is Sunday at Farwell Park. And then there is a 3-day celebration. It didn't start out as a 3-day celebration, but Monday is the 17th, and it is the start of the movies at by the Bay series. So we chose Black Panther as a movie, and then Tuesday is the Juneteenth Eve kickback, which is something new. We have the space at the pavilion, and from 3 to 9 there'll be different games, and then there's a DJ, there's some food trucks out there, Graham's Goodies and Waffle Tacos will be out, Waffles Locals will be out there. There's the Glass City Hustler line dance crew will be coming to do some line dance instruction from 6:30 to 7:30. Again, that's from 3 to 9. You can get all your just a really great gathering to have a Juneteenth Eve celebration. And then on the actual day of Juneteenth, which is June 19th, that's Wednesday, we have the celebration, Celebrate Freedom Sandusky. This is our 4th year going into that, and I'm really excited for this actual event because it's enhanced. It's over the years. I look back at 2020 when we were still in COVID. Socially distanced. We had 2 commissioners out there in front of the pavilion with a table and just red velvet cupcakes and a igloo full of red Kool-Aid and some pamphlets. And I've never celebrated Juneteenth. It wasn't part of my family's culture. But in 2020, we decided to just come out and see what happens. And so from 2020 with 2 tables, we've gone into this great celebration for the culture, and I'm excited about it. It goes from 1 to, the actual event is from 1 to 7, 7:30. We'll start the Forever Motown. That's a Lang Trust Summer Concert Series. And then at 9:30, the celebration ends with the fireworks, and that is sponsored by the America 250 Ohio Commission. And again, it's Monday, 7 o'clock, for the movie, Tuesday 3 to 9 at the Pavilion for a Juneteenth Eve kickback, and then the actual Juneteenth Celebrate Freedom celebration is from 1 to 7, and fireworks at 9:30. I think that's it for Juneteenth.
Okay. We also have, I put flyers up there if you want to grab one. We've combined forces with the Sandusky Elks Lodge with their fishing day. They have annually had an event at Shoreline Park on Father's Day, which is this Sunday, June 16th. We are providing some assistance with their annual fishing derby, but also honoring Chuck Hank. We had to take the kids fishing day in years past that we did that was basically the same day, and we're trying to kind of help out each other. I helped put a flyer together. We're kind of helping with their marketing. And then the Lake Erie Walleye Trail is bringing a boat to have that on site on Sunday. And then the Whiteman Weber Charitable Foundation is a funder of that. So there's prizes for all the kids, lunch is provided, and they don't even have to have a fishing pole or any sort of bait or anything when they show up. The Elks will help with that, and so will the Lake Erie Walleye Trail folks. So I wanted to put that out there. Tomorrow night is our first party at the pier with Rumors. That concert starts at 7 o'clock. It looks like it's going to be about 90 degrees outside, but it'll be breezy. So we're looking forward to our first party at the pier event tomorrow night. Any questions on events?
And that's every Thursday, Jason.
Party at the pier. The schedule does vary because we go Thursday this week, then Forever Motown for Juneteenth next Wednesday, and then it kicks back into the Thursdays until July where there's another Lang Trust event.
Okay. All right, anything else under old business? New business, Chandra? Summer programming?
Yeah, trying to get something. So summer programming, we have the summer break camp Funshine at Mills from started June 10th, which was just come off. It says Monday, June 10th, and it goes until August 2nd, Monday through Friday from 10 to 2. We also are programming at Foxborough Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. There are some local organizations that will be coming out, like Erie Metro Parks, yoga, the artisans, dance, mental health with the health department. Nico is going to be doing a soccer camp on Tuesdays and Wednesdays at Mills. We also I'd like to thank the Sandusky City Schools Antoine Hunter for feeding our kids for lunch on a daily basis. I appreciate that very much. And right now we have the 128 kids registered, and we still have 9 kids on the wait list. there's a list that, of kids that have not shown up this week, and I will reach out to those families tomorrow. If they are not able to show up the rest of this week, they'll be moved to the wait list roster, and the wait list kids will be moved onto the roster too, so they can attend. And we've been having an average of 83 kids so far every day. I think we're at 81 today, but Monday and Tuesday we're 83 kids in attendance. So it's pretty. It is summer break camp, and kids are showing up. So I mean, we'll see what these next couple of days when it's 90 plus outside. I don't know if we'll have Mario come over with the fire truck and give a little water fun, but you know that's what we do. And I think OGO and the Sandusky Rec are going to partner with some party at the park activities, and that is going to be, there's some dates, there's an updated flyer, you got to update the flyer on dates, I put it on your desk.
Okay.
But it basically is, this is a flyer that they're going to be at Community Youth Mentoring Parking Lot tomorrow, actually. And they're gonna, during these party at the park events, they're gonna have grilled lunch, which is probably gonna be hot dogs, hamburgers, kid pantry food and snacks, outdoor games, popsicles, and more. And this is gonna just probably be a 90-minute activity. They're gonna travel to, I believe it's Huron Park, Orlando Pace Park, Fireworld Park, Middle School, and there's another park, Central, I believe. But you can go on the OGO Facebook page and check out the OGO Park Party, which is going to be at different locations throughout the city.
Mr. Chair, you finished?
Mm-hmm.
A couple of things I wanted to ask some questions about, because I'm not sure how this operates. I've seen the after-school program, and I think that you're doing an awesome job.
Richard, could you use the mic?
I've seen the after-school program. I've been over there many times to visit. In fact, my grandchildren are there. But how is it supported, financed? Is it financed fully by the city, or are there donations? Is there a foundation? Because I'm just curious, and I wanted to know if those children that are part of that program only, if they pay anything just for that program.
Sure. The part-time and seasonal staff are paid through city, general fund, city budgeted funds. And then our youth, we have youth program funds that come through CDBG that basically reimburse for Tandra's salary.
Okay.
For that.
So the children, though, the children and their families for that program, they don't pay anything for the program.
Those programs are offered free of charge.
Right. Okay. So, and I'll put this on the record, and I'll say it at the city commission meeting, that I'm sure that'll continue. At least I hope that'll continue, that those children that are part of that program don't pay. Now, I'm the liaison for the Recreation Center Advisory Committee, so I stay fairly quiet, but I listen to everything that's said. And I could understand why those folks on that committee said, look, we can't move forward in terms of trying to say that the programming that is a part of that after-school program will be there. That's, to me, logistically speaking, that's not wise, right? So we're absolutely right. That committee is absolutely right in doing that. And I want to correct like a false narrative that's out there, because I've heard people say it. I've even heard the Sandusky Register editor say this. It's a false narrative to say that the citizens voted for it, right? Just slightly more than half of the citizens voted for it. And we have to remember this, right? So there were almost half that voted against it. And with that in mind, we have to remember that it's for them too, even though they didn't vote for it. This is one of the reasons why logistically we can't just say everything that you're doing over there now goes into that program. You've got the elderly, you've got middle-aged, you've got young adults, you've got teenagers, and you got all of these children who aren't a part of that program after school. So I just want to put that to rest. Like, that's a false narrative to say that the people, no, just the majority, slightly the majority, voted for it. Many voted against it. And as a city commissioner, I'll speak for the people. And I have to put that on the record, right? And I'll put that on the record at the city commission meeting too. But as far as these programs, I'm hoping, and I'll speak for that remaining free to the children in that program for after-school programs, and that's all I wanted to say.
Okay. And I don't know if I said this on the record when the levy did pass, but, you know, with the margin that it did pass by, I think one of the things I've said to other folks is, you know, it's our job moving forward to show the almost, you know, half of those residents of providing that recreation center and show that their vote matters and that they didn't vote for it and they might have supported there, but we'll show them why they should have
Right.
at the polls. When
Yeah, I like that.
Because there's 52 votes, so.
Yeah, I like that. I like how you characterize that. This is important, right?
Hey, Jason.
Yeah, I had one more thing with the summer programming, and I'm probably going to put Beth on the spot a little bit, but we had our first Mama Collins track meet on Monday at a new venue, you know, with the construction going on over at Strobel Field. We moved venues, and it was a mostly smooth transition. I don't know if you wanted to chat about how the first week went, and then we still have 3 more Mondays, so bring your kids.
Yes.
I think it went very smoothly. I actually enjoyed it at Mills. There was a ton of kids. Usually it was more there than normally we have when we first start. So I was glad to see all the kids out there, but I kind of like it at Mills. I mean, I do. I mean, people were watching from their houses. And so I was kind of glad that they could actually see kids doing positive things as opposed to yelling at them for being on this or hanging off of that. So I kind of like it where at Mills, and I appreciate you guys moving it.
And I just want to add, I was there before the first event actually kicked off, and so it was seamless. The families were coming in and heading to the gym to get their sign up for the 3 events that they wanted to do, and the kids were excited. And while they were waiting, they were playing on the playground, and just seeing kiddos. I think Dr. Kunze was your grandson, Kane. He did the 1600, right? He's 7 years old. And he did the 1,600 meter. He wanted to do the longest run.
And a shout out to Zeke for setting that course up.
Yeah, his dad set the course up. It was really, really cool to have there. And I remember you saying that it was a great turnout. And I think it's a special piece of property there at Mills, and it's a trusted site, and it's like real homey, and it's safe. And the families that were there, we rolled some chairs out, and they just put them right outside the door. So I think it's a great location.
Mr. Chair, I got one more thing. I almost forgot about it, but since we are talking about recreation and special events, many folks don't know this, but I'm a professor. I always worked as a professor for years, and there's a performative piece that I do. It's interactive, and it's a TED Talk-like piece, and it's called Schizophrenic Nation and Our Sweet Songs of Liberty. I'll be presenting that at the Regional Center for Advanced Academic Studies on June 29th from 2 to 4 p.m. So, and it's about the history of African Americans in our country that's never told, and that absolutely there are records and archives related to all this information. That I have a philosophy, and the philosophy is that if we only taught the truth about our history and taught our children the truth, we'd be more collectively together as a people. The divide exists because we're not taught the truth. And so that performative piece, I'll be giving that presentation on June 29th from 2 to 4, Schizophrenic Nation and Our Sweet Songs of Liberty. It's an inclusive American history.
One more, or are we moving on to parks and facilities? The commission meeting on Monday, they approved the resurfacing of Farwell, the basketball courts at Farwell. That was part of a bigger resurfacing program. So the basketball courts at Farwell are going to get resurfaced, and we have new hoops that will be going in prior to that, and then striping following the resurfacing, because if you do the striping before the resurfacing, you don't see the striping. So that's going to be happening here this summer. I believe it's CDBG funded, and it'll be after July And then another thing that was approved, and I want to thank the commission for approving this as well, is some concrete work being done in several of the parks. So Shoreline around the Grinders concession area is going to get some of the upgrades where there's some issues with steps and where they don't need to be there. We're also going to add some concrete and some pads for benches at the ice rink in Whiteman Weber Park. So that area sometimes gets muddy or messy, so we can keep that clear when we have the ice skating out there. And then the big one was some sidewalks that are going to go in over at AMVETS, at the AMVETS project with connectivity. And I don't know if, Chris, you got more on, I know the map was pretty extensive of how many things, but it's just increasing accessibility around there, and then also helping direct. So, when the games are going on there, there's traffic, and trying to make sure the crosswalks are all aligned and kids can get to the field. So looking forward to that project getting bid.
I got a question about the sidewalks. Where are they gonna be located?
So they'll be on the south.
What's your mic?
Mike,
Yep. Third person.
Sorry. They'll be on the south side of Sproul,
Okay,
basically where, where the wastewater treatment plant job site is now.
Okay.
All the way down to in front of the playground.
okay,
And then they'll also run north and south from basically back by the,
Erie Blacktop Field to the pathway, isn't
to the
it?
pathway.
Yeah.
oh, okay.
Connect into the pathway that way, so kids riding their bike through there can get through. And
So it doesn't start on Tiffin, right past that, right past Tiffin.
Right, because we still have the entrance of the large equipment going in and
Oh,
out of the
gotcha,
wastewater
gotcha,
treatment. We didn't want to,
Okay,
yeah.
all right.
So some good improvements there to go along with the new fields and new playground.
Updates to the score box and concession stand, et cetera.
Sorry, I stole some of your thunder.
No, that's fine.
Any questions on those?
Anything else under new business?
are we at the open?
Yep.
Yes.
I just have a couple things to say. You can hear me kind of loud. I've been bombarded with questions about this rec center and why we aren't involved in it. And I don't have an answer to give to anybody. There's a couple of us I've been here 16 years, and I felt like a slap in the face for everything I've done. Does anybody have any answers to why we weren't involved?
Mr. Chair, I can say, because I was the person who first actually talked about forming the advisory committee, right? And I just started reaching out to folks because it hadn't been approved by the city commission, but I just wanted to do some preliminary work to find out, okay, and I already had in mind that we would have at least a couple people from this rec board, which I think is the appropriate thing to do. But what happened is we all agreed that the motion would move forward to start the advisory committee, but when it came forward, it also was attached with all the names of the organizations that would be a part of it. And I was the only one who said, wait a minute, should we be attaching all the names that comes from one person? So I'm just giving you the honest truth about what happened. And then there was a little back and forth about it, and I said, well, we're not thinking about the Boys and Girls Club, we're not thinking about, and I mentioned some other names, and it basically was nobody else chimed in, so it moved forward. I was able to get the Boys and Girls Club on there and already had serving our seniors on there, so that's how it happened, right? That the person who brought the motion forward had already decided who the individual organizations would be at that table to be represented. Truth.
So one person just decided who should be on it.
Yeah.
And a lot of them aren't locals, though, or don't have an affiliation like
Yeah, that
this.
was the problem that I had with the selection and how it was selected. And then the next time, all I did was bring up the question, and the question was, I wanted to hear from other commissioners. How do you all feel? We might have another time where we need to create an advisory committee. How do you all feel about somebody actually bringing forward a motion to have an advisory committee, and they've already selected every single organization and every single person that sits on it? I think we represent the people. All of us as commissioners should have a say. I asked that, and nobody else had a word to say. They said, well, I've never been involved in this process, but that wasn't the question I asked. The question I asked was, what do you think we should do moving forward? Nobody else answered the question. So I'm always going to tell the truth when you ask me a question. And that's what happened.
Sure,
That's what happened.
I had the same thing asked to me too, by no rec board members.
Well, yeah, it's out there.
So, it would be a good idea to approach the person on the commission who actually made the recommendation and ask why. Truth.
Is this a paid position that these guys are
No.
just all
It's like
volunteer?
us
It's volunteer. It's volunteer. But that was a good question.
Well, I was just wondering, because I have a restaurant, people the commoners come in my
Yeah.
restaurant, and they're up on all this
Yeah.
stuff, and they were asking.
You're absolutely right, though. It's an excellent question. Same question, I'm a commoner. I'm just going to tell you. That's my sensibility. That's who I am.
Well, let me add 2 more cents in on this. Remember, I still think the teens to adults need some type of water, grass, and a concession stand somewhere in Sandusky, Ohio. And there are other splash pads that we could maybe enlarge.
Yeah. And you made me think of something, but I thought about this earlier as it relates to the rec center, right? Because we know that education, that should be at the top of our priority list. But when you're dealing with recreation, it's recreation, right? But one of the things that I thought about as it relates to games, like when these kids play these games, my thing is sometimes I'll see my grandson playing a game and I'm looking at it and I'm saying, that seems kind of mindless, right? So I say, no. Where are the educational games? Where are the spelling games? Where are the games, right? And then I say, that's what I want you doing right now. It would be nice to have a gaming room where the only games that they could actually play were fun, but they were competing against each other to learn how to spell, to learn how to read, right? To learn how to do some of these things that are important, right? Writing, reading, math, those games, right? You can have teams of 2-on-2 or 1-on-1. I think that's just something to consider. Right? Because a lot of what I do is aimed at education. I'm an educator. I truly believe I saw what it did in my own life, and I know what it can do in the lives of these children that we serve. So that's just something to think about. Don't everybody speak at once. It's like I can hear a
Well,
pin drop.
I mean, we do have a reading, writing room at Mills currently with Miss Ashburn has been gracious to start that library there, and we've got
Oh, yeah, that's a good thing, but I'm just
chess
talking
room
about
and- yeah.
games that they actually can play, just like they play on the pads.
Mm-hmm.
And then, my grandson plays those games, and I play with him one-on-one, right? I'll let him win, try to, sometimes. Sometimes I let him win.
we also have a chess room, which we were
No,
looking
but
for
he's really
some
good.
people.
He's beating me at some of that stuff. I'm going, man, that's pretty fast, can't he?
If you're,
But anyway.
if you or anyone you know is decent at chess, we're looking for some volunteers to help in our chess room as well.
Yeah, that's a good one. I like that.
Does the city school still have an after-school program?
As far as I know, I'm not sure about that because I'm always involved, not as much as I used to be, with athletics and the study tables,
After
right?
school
Which is something else we need to work
Remember we
on.
used to go to Osborne? I worked at the after-school
They
program.
do have one. They do have one. It's called
Yeah,
ODA.
I'm not really familiar with it.
Sherry, you mentioned you had a couple other items, or is that,
That's it,
okay?
that's it.
We do have a guest. I don't know if you were looking to just attend the meeting or if you had anything you wanted to bring up.
When you gonna break ground on the rest?
Break ground.
Once there's an architect selected, but I think we're still waiting on the advisory committee's recommendation to the city commission, and then they would move forward with the next step.
Come on, Michael.
I guess I'll keep traveling Bellevue then, and Norwalk, go there back to
Yeah.
It's coming, not yet, it's coming.
And once they break ground, I understand it might take like 2 years.
2 years. I'm up in age now, so,
Well, we'll hurry, just for you.
we do it for the city.
Yeah.
I voted for it and everything, yeah. I want to see, enjoy it, the time I got left, so.
Well, you're really aging yourself.
I'm proud of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Chair, If anybody's interested, we still offer free community yoga at meals at 7 o'clock. Tonight there is, our teacher is Nicole Lofties, and it's a slow flow yoga session. And I'm always going to offer a chair alternative. So if you want to do chair yoga with me during these sessions, come on out to meals at 7 o'clock every Wednesday. It's free community yoga.
That brings up a question.
Okay.
Should or not?
Are you coming, Sherry? Sherry.
I'd be the chairperson.
No, right.
2 chairs. When we offer all these different things, like at Mills and all that, there's an answer to my question for myself when you hear this. Do we charge a fee to rent the halls, or is all this free?
For open weight, okay, go ahead.
Open Way Yoga does have a monthly charge for the one room that we have upstairs at Mills. But we also had the teacher program that we had grant funding for we worked with the Erie County Community, I don't know if you and Tandra want to talk about that program of, how that came to be, and then kind of how that teacher training continues, and there's more, they have to get hours basically, so we're able, with them having to get the hours, I guess I'll just keep talking, with them having to get the hours.
Great job.
They have to do training on their own to get that certification. So these 7 o'clock at Mills is part of on their way of getting certification. So they're new at teaching, and they're trying to get, it's been a pretty successful program for what,
Yeah.
sometimes they'll have to move the space because so many people are showing up and they can't fit just in that one room, but it's just been a win-win on that.
Well, it's not that I care about how you guys run everything, but I just read on Facebook, someone was saying how there is a question if we don't charge admission because it was built on taxpayers' dollar, how do you pay for it to keep it running? And I thought, well, that's a good way by letting people rent and pay a fee. I didn't know if you were doing that or not.
Well, there's other programs that we offer that there is a registration fee, and then we do pay the instructor.
Like if there will be basketball or any of that stuff, that will be a fee?
Well, I mean, saying just basketball, it really depends. If it's a basketball camp where you're registering for a 5-day camp, there might be a fee involved with that, but it might be an open gym where we have,
I'm just trying to think of ways to be creative to where we don't have to charge an arm and a leg to a student or to an adult. Like an adult pays a pass to get in it, their kid comes free, or city school people only. I'm trying to be creative on how to pay for this, since it's going to be a problem, I guess, if we don't charge.
well, we're working through all that. Yeah.
Just wondering.
Move we adjourn?
Second.
I will